Good morning, friends. It's Saturday for those of you who've lost track of time. It's Saturday at 9 a.m. and I'm super excited to be here. I already picked my cards for this morning, so just for the sake of time, because I find that I don't get through everything I want to get through if I talk to you guys too much. I picked this card this morning, Uttanasana. This is our standing forward bend. It's touching your toes day, my friends. It's so funny because this is one of the poses that people constantly are asking me about. Like, first off, people are like, how do I touch my toes? Second off, people are like, how do I do a Ki-Hara forward bend? Like, how do I add resistance and movement to a toe touch? Well, I'm going to show you today, so that's what we're going to do. Before we get started, though, I just want to bring up real quick how to exchange energy if you find that you're getting value from this course. I'm just getting started on YouTube, basically. It's been a few months, but, we're building slowly. So here are a few ways. The number one top dog, best thing possible that you can do for me is to subscribe to this channel. That is like 100% the greatest thing you can do. The next thing would be to donate to this cause. I am building this channel bit by bit. My studio's closed downtown. We're under lockdown. It's just been a really interesting couple weeks. And if you're able to contribute, please do. And that would be super helpful. And then the last three things here are things that you can do on YouTube so simply. Number one, share this content with others. If you think this class is something that someone would like, just send them the link to this class. If you think that my channel is something they would like, send them the link to my channel. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. If you like this class, if you like this video, put a little thumbs up on it. And also leave a comment in the field down below. That's super, super helpful. All of those things are incredibly helpful for me. And I can't stress it enough, but the more you interact with this channel, the more this word gets out to other people who might just see it because they looked up stretching one day, or like they looked up how to touch my toes one day. And then if they come across this, think of how you could save them from stretching the wrong way. Oh my gosh. And all it takes is you giving me a little thumbs up. That's it. So do that, especially if you know you love the Ki-Hara like I do. All right, so let's get to it. Now, since we're working on this standing forward bend, which remember in yoga class is called uttanasana. I love these fancy words. I always think it's funny when people use them. We're going to touch our toes today. Now, this standing forward bend a lot of times gets kind of a bad rap because you can actually get some hamstring tendinopathy. Like you can get some pain in your hamstrings or like uncomfortableness because when people fold over into forward bends a lot, then the tendons and the hamstrings get kind of like pressed by your joint, and then you end up with inflammation in your hamstrings. So I'm going to show you how to avoid that and how to really get a good forward fold. Maybe even touch your toes, maybe even today. So we're not warmed up, of course, but let's go ahead and stand up and just get a good test on where we are. I like to stand up just on wood floor, like not on your mat because your mat's a little cushy, right? Make sure you're in a good place. Take a few steps so that you get your hips and your feet lined up just right. Find yourself in a good place. And then notice how your feet feel on the floor. Do you feel stable? Do you feel like you're balanced on your feet? Do you feel more like you're kind of turned in towards your towards your toes, like towards your big toe? Or do you feel like you're leaning towards the outside? Do you feel more pressure on the outside of your foot? Do you feel like you're leaning forward onto your toes, or do you feel like your weight's further onto your heels in the back? Do you feel like you can even stand up straight? Or do you feel like you kind of want to hunch over? Like, what does your body want to do? Right now, based off of how my body's been after like sitting on the couch for a while yesterday, I kind of feel like my standing up wants to look like this, right? If I just kind of follow where my body wants to go, it wants to this is my right hip, I want to stick my right hip out. I want to lean on my right leg. Like that's kind of how I feel today. So let yourself explore that. Like, what do you feel? What do you feel like? And then from there, find your place. Go ahead and tip forward, try to touch your toes and see how far you get. Don't strain it, don't push it. Just see what feels good. And then take a second to notice some things, like how do your calves feel? How do your hamstrings feel? Do you feel dizzy? Do you feel like you want your head to be up, or can you let it hang? Can you touch the floor? What does that feel like? Do you feel tension in your lower back? Do you feel anything in your hips? Do you feel like you want to bend your knees? What does that feel like for you? Okay, just take note, because it's going to change. And of course it's going to change because we're going to warm your body up, but it's also going to change because I'm going to teach you the actual biomechanics of how touching your toes works, and then how to remove the barriers that keep you from being able to do it. So let's see what happens. You ready? Let's go first right into our hamstrings. Now, we're going to do this on our backs. So lay back. Bring your right leg up. Let your leg be perfectly straight, and grab your right leg behind with both hands. So interlocked my fingers. And then from here, you're going to push with your right leg away from your body. And that's going to pull you up into a crunch. I'm engaging my hamstring. And then I'm just going to pull back. At the same time, I'm going to keep engaging my hamstring by trying to push my heel away from my body. I'm always trying to push away. My arms are pulling me in. This is a resistance stretch. So I'm resisting while I'm stretching. And then you just continue to move through the stretch. So as you come into this hamstring stretch, you're still resisting. When you get deep into the stretch, you come right back out. And you just go back and forth. You can have your head up or down, whatever feels good to you. Just kind of play around with it. See how it feels. Just go back and forth. Forward for strength, then back for stretch. Take your time through it. Enjoy the stretch. Only go as far into the stretch as feels good for you. Oh, hi, Suri. This is my cat, Suri. 9 a.m. is her happy. This is the class she thinks she runs. Ha, ha, ha. What are you doing? Yeah, it's nice to see you. So forward for strength and back for stretch. We do about 10 repetitions of each one, but you can stop whenever you feel like it. And if you have any pain in any of these stretches, stop right away. Couple rules for those of you who are new to this channel. The first rule is that you move all the time. So there's absolutely no holding the stretch. The second rule is that you resist all the time. That means that you don't relax into the stretch, but you actually keep your muscles engaged the entire time. The last rule, and this is super important, if anything hurts, you've either gone too far into the stretch or you have different stretches to do. So don't take yourself into a place of pain. It actually creates a hindrance. It backs up your process when you add pain into the stretch. Your body doesn't want to be in pain. So take a second and really notice, am I uncomfortable in this stretch, or can I put it in a place that feels good? Right? You don't have to go deep into any of these stretches. And if you feel pain, you've gone too far. Okay? All right. Hey, that's a good stretch, Suri. Okay. So now let's do the other side. So bring your left leg up, grab behind with both hands, push away for strength, and pull in for your stretch. And you just go back and forth. Forward for strength, then back for stretch. And see if you can find that stretch in your hamstring, right down the back of your leg. Again, if there's any pain, just skip it. We're going to come back to this one later. Hey, Bubba. And just go back and forth for this stretch. See if you can find this good stretch in the back of your leg. Now, if you guys are watching live, feel free to check in with the chat. Say hi, let me know you're here. And if you have any questions or if there's anything you want to work on, you can write that in the chat. Let me know. Let me know if there's anything specific that's, anything specific you want me to know about. For some reason, my chat isn't open, so I'm just going to pop that out real quick, make sure that I've got that open. All right. So yeah, say hi, because I like you guys, and I want to make sure that I know who's in class today. There we go. Where did that go? I lost it. Live chat. Okay, sorry. You guys, technology, I swear. All right, the next stretch we're going to do is for your hip flexors. So you're coming to a lunge. Bring your right leg in the front, your left leg behind, and you're going to scissor both legs together. So you're trying to pull your front leg back, engaging your hamstring. And you're trying to pull your back leg forward, which engages your hip flexor. So you just go back and forth. So use your front leg to pull you forward, and your back leg pulls you back. And you just go back and forth, just like that. Now, just a quick note, if you guys are watching, but you're not watching live, like if you rewind it a little bit, then anything you write in the chat, I'm not going to see. So make sure that if you are watching this, just fast forward. It's okay. If you miss a few, it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. I mean, you can always go back and do them again later too. So pulling with your front leg, and you should feel this in the front of your hip, right here in the front. And then you pull back for strength. Then you just go back and forth. Forward for strength, back for stretch. Should be right here. Back and forth. Oh, this is a delicious stretch. I love it. And just back and forth. You can move your arms in the way that feels good to you. You can move your body in the way that feels good. Just go back and forth. Remember that there's always this tug of war between both legs. So both legs should be trying to pull together. It's like you're trying to bring yourself to this place with both legs, okay? And you just go back and forth. If you feel like you want a deeper stretch, you can twist open towards your back leg. See if you can find a deeper stretch by looking over. This is my left leg, so it'd be your left shoulder. It's the same leg, the same shoulder. So you just look over that shoulder. See if you can find that deeper stretch, okay? Oh, so good. This one's very important for that forward fold. And I think people take for granted that you have this balance. There's a compromise, there's a give and take between your body, between the muscles in your body. So if you want to fold into a forward fold, you actually have to be able to bend at your hip so that you can come over into that forward fold. We'll talk more about that later, but there's this give and take between the muscles. We want to really honor that. That's how you get everything to unlock. It has nothing to do with stretching your hamstrings. And everyone thinks it's like, if I want to touch my toes, I just have to stretch my hamstrings a million times. But if your hamstrings would let you stretch, which yours are not, if you can't touch your toes, there's a barrier. There's a reason. There's a reason why your hamstrings are locking up. There's a reason why you can't fold over. And it really has nothing to do with whether or not you can stretch your hamstrings. It has everything to do with whether you can shorten other things. All right. I just put a towel under my knee. Feel free to do that, or double up your mat or something. I don't know what I did, but I must have landed right on that bone. I think it's bruised. And you just go back and forth. Back for strength, forward for stretch. And if you feel like you want a little twist in there, then you can turn over your same side shoulder. So I'm stretching my right leg as I come forward. So I'm going to look over my right shoulder. That gives you a little bit of a deeper stretch, right? So you just look over your right shoulder. Remember to keep resisting the whole time and moving the whole time. So you don't want to hold this stretch at the end without moving. If you get to the end of the stretch and you still feel like you want to hold it there, then you have to move somewhere else. And that's where this twist would come into play. Okay? Or you could lift your arms up and see how that feels. Right? Just play around with it. Okay, friends. The next stretch we're going to go into is for your inner thighs. Let's do it this way. Bring your left leg out to the side. I'll mirror, okay? So this looks like your left leg on the computer. Turn your foot so that the inner sole of your foot, right here on the inside, is on the ground, but the rest of your foot's turned. So like your whole leg is straight and your foot's lined up with your leg. okay? Then bring your hands over your head, grab your wrist, doesn't matter which one, and you're just gonna go back and forth. You're gonna pull towards your bent leg, this is strength training, and you'll pull over your straight leg for your stretch. You should feel your inner thighs stretching. And you just go back and forth. Now, I'm feeling, when we talk about this give and take between two muscles, you should feel it here. I'm feeling a little bit of a pinch here. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go into some real basic leg raises and see if I can stretch that muscle out. You can stay in this one or you can join me for this next one, okay? So I'm just gonna lay on my side with my legs straight out, just like it's an exercise video from the 80s. You push up for strength and down for stretch. So I'm pushing up, I'm using my arm to push me down. We did a ton of work on these muscles yesterday, so I'm not surprised that they're a little angry for me today. Up for strength and down for stretch. Whew. Yeah, and it just got real warm in here. Sometimes if you guys notice you get really warm during your stretches, it's because there's a release happening. I don't know the exact chemistry to it. I have some theories. But yeah, there's sometimes a heat release. Good. And then after doing that, if you go back to your side lunge, it should feel a lot better. Yeah, so now my pinchy, crampy feeling is gone. And now I'm getting the stretch in my inner thigh on the left side, and I'm feeling my right here. All right, so again, it's just compromise. It's just going back and forth, understanding that your body has a yin and yang side. It has a balance. There are like two scales balancing out. And so when one side is shortening, which is here, the other side lengthens, which is here, and also here. So finding that compromise is super important. It is really, really important. Whew. Awesome. All right. Now let's do the other side. Boy, it got really warm in here. That stretch. It kicked my butt. All right, let's try the other side. So bring your right leg out to the side. Grab your wrist with the other hand, and you can go back and forth. And you just pull over your left leg for your stretch. You come back for strength. And it's just a back and forth motion. Now, if you still feel a little impingement in your hip, like if you feel that little cramp, then go ahead and lay on your side and we'll do those leg lifts again. Up for strength and push down with your hand. Down. I'm pushing my leg down. My leg is fighting the whole time. And you just go up and down. Up for strength, then down for stretch. You just go back and forth. And this one you should feel kind of in your glutes a little bit. It might feel like a burn more than a stretch, but that's okay. When you come down this way, the muscle's lengthening. It'll just feel like a burn. It won't feel like a stretch much at all. And then after you've done a couple of those, we'll go back into the stretch on our side. So bring your right leg out to the side, grab your hands over your head, and you'll just go back and forth. Pulling with one arm and then pulling with the other arm. And see if you can find that stretch in your inner thighs. Oh, and probably on this side body on the left. That should feel pretty good actually. After doing those hip stretches, it probably feels really good, a lot better. All right, one more. Pull across for your stretch. There you go. All right, now we're gonna work on our glutes again, but in a different way. So once you lay on your back, we're gonna do like a figure 4 glute stretch. If you're a runner, you know this one. Bring your right leg on top of your left leg. Reach through and grab your left leg with both hands. You're gonna push with your right leg like you're trying to bring it out. And at the same time, pull in with your arms. And you just go back and forth. So your right leg pushes out, your arms pull you in. And you just go back and forth. Forward for strength, back for stretch. Whew. You should feel this in your glute on the right side. If it doesn't feel good, just stop. You can leave it. It's okay. It's okay to skip it if it doesn't feel good. I'm not joking about that. You can always come back to it on another day, or you can, visit some of my problem-solving videos. If you look at my playlists, I have a whole playlist of problem-solving videos. And you just pick the glute one. Work through that, problem solve it. See if you can get some more mobility or see if you can get it activated in the right way. But mainly, if it doesn't feel good right now, it means that it's just not working. The stretch is a complete waste of time if it doesn't feel right to you. Okay? It's not only just a waste of time, but you could actually hurt yourself if you go into a stretch that doesn't feel good. Okay? So just do what feels good, and then eventually all the other stuff will open up. And sometimes it takes a little while. Sometimes it happens right away. Okay? So with your left leg now, put your left leg on top, reach through and grab your right leg with both hands, push out for strength, and pull in for stretch. Then again, you just go back and forth. Your left leg pushes out, your arms pull in. Your right leg is just a lever to hold on to. So don't do much with that leg, it's just there. But most of this work is happening from your glute on your left side. And you just go back and forth. Good, good, good. You should feel it right here. It's a nice one. So important. Whew. Okay, let's do one more. And then I want to revisit our inner thighs, but in a different way. And the reason why I want to do this is because this muscle group on our inner thighs here is the main muscle group that will contradict, or will it kind of get in the way, it conflicts with our central hamstring stretch. So that forward fold sometimes can't happen because of your inner thighs. That's mind-blowing, right? Isn't that crazy? So lay on your back. Bring your legs up in the air. If your hamstrings are tight, bend your knees, that's okay. Or have your feet up so that the soles are facing the ceiling. Grab your knees on the inside and squeeze your legs together. So your arms are trying to push open, your legs are trying to close, okay? Use your arms to pull you into this wide leg split until you feel a stretch in your inner thighs, and then squeeze in. If your knees are bent, it'll just look like this. That's okay too. Shaking is really normal in this one, so don't worry about it if you're shaking. That's okay. Open for stretch, close it for strength. And actually, if you can find that place where it kind of trembles, that's even better. So see if you can find the shake, like really find it. Whoa! And then I'm not shaking on purpose, my body is doing that. But it's like a little less resistance and my body starts to tremble. Woo! That's like an earthquake when I really let it. Let it shake. Whew. Good, let's do one more. Yikes. All right. Whew. That shaking is crazy. It's kind of fun, right? Now let's see if we can get into our hamstring in a little bit of a different way. So bring your right leg to the front, and what you're gonna do here is try to kick your right heel back like you're trying to kick your butt. It's like you're trying to kick your heel to your butt, okay? When you do that, if you let the mat stop you, it'll actually pull you forward. This is the same hip flexor lunge we were doing before, but now we're gonna put the focus on this hamstring. So what I want you to do is bend your hips, keep resisting with your front leg, bring your chest down, and see if you can find a stretch through your hamstring in this way. And then pull yourself back up. If you have to use your hands to help you get back up, then you've gone too far. So try not to put your weight on your hands here, but feel in control the entire time. And then use your legs to pull you up, okay? This hamstring is engaged the whole time. And you just go back and forth as you bend your hips forward, bring your chest close to your leg, and get that hamstring stretch. As soon as it starts to feel intense, that's when you pull out of it, okay? So don't go any further than you need to. Whew. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. All right. I'm so excited, you guys. I got my internet upgraded, so the picture's so much better. If you've been following class, you should have such a better image. And then today, sometime today, I'm getting a microphone headset. You know, like Britney Spears wears, which means we can do so much crazy stuff. Let's switch legs. Pull with your left leg like you're trying to kick your heel towards your butt. Use your left leg to pull you forward, and your back leg pulls you back. I can't wait. And then hopefully once I figure out how technology works, you'll even have better sound for class. Won't that be amazing? I'm so excited. Upgrading. So pull with your left leg forward, contracting that hamstring. As you come back, try not to let your arms hold you up. So you could put them behind your back if you want. You could just use your fingertips there, just in case. But you should always feel like you can pull yourself back up. So like from here, I can go into the stretch, but if I wanted to, I could actually come up out of this lunge pretty easily and back into the stretch without using my hands. Okay, that might not be something that you can do today, and that's all right. Just do what feels good to you. But make sure that you are in control this whole time so that you can bend and straighten your leg easily with the muscle control. Okay, so even when you're going into the stretch, the muscle is contracted so that it can pull you back up. I do not relax into these stretches. I can't tell you guys that enough. These stretches should never feel like they're relaxed. Mainly because in real life, you never want your muscles to let you down, right? If you end up in an extreme range of motion, you want to be able to stop yourself and pull out of that extreme range of motion before you break, right? So training your body to relax your muscles into a deep stretch is really dangerous. It's really, really dangerous. All right, let's come up into our standing position again. And then what I want you to do here is just test your forward fold. So bend at your hips, let your hip flexors fold, and see how that feels for you now. I feel a lot more free. Feels a lot better. Whew. And then you can come out of it just to test and see. If you're getting further, if you noticed it's further, go ahead and give me a thumbs up right now. Put that thumbs up in that video. Let me know that you are getting to the point where you're touching your toes. If you actually do touch your toes, write it in the comment with like emojis, party emojis, because you did it. That's exciting. But we have more stuff to do, so maybe there's still things that are going to help you unlock, right? Maybe we haven't reached all of the barriers yet. So bring your hands together. We're going to move into some arm stretches. You can sit in a way that feels comfortable to you, or even stand up in the stretch if you want. Bring your thumbs right over your head and just let your thumbs hover right there over the crown of your head. Then try to squeeze your elbows together and then open your arms up. Your main resistance here is gravity, and then you can also create tension in your body. Like if you imagine that you're squeezing a balloon between your arms, then you have this feeling of like, I'm pushing the balloon close, like I'm trying to pop it. And then as you open up, it's like the balloon is blowing up, but you don't really want it to. You just make that imaginary resistance happen. Open for strength. Your shoulder blades come together. And you close. This is your stretch. And you'll feel this in the back of your shoulders. So just open and close. Find that stretch in the back of your shoulders. And open and close. Oh, this is for your rotator cuff, so you should feel it right in the back of your arms, right back here. If it doesn't feel good, that's okay. Just don't do it or move in smaller ranges. So maybe just this much. If you're getting really tired, you can stop. You don't have to do 10 repetitions or however many I do. I don't really count. I just like to see what my body feels like doing. So when you feel like you're ready to stop, just stop. It's okay. Now we're going to go into a stretch for your hamstrings, your calves, but also for the front of your chest. And this is very similar to if you did downward dog, like in yoga class. So we're going to come onto all fours. Your hands right under your shoulders and tuck your toes under. Then you're going to come up to a straight leg position, but you don't have to have your heels on the floor. So keep your heels up. Make sure your knees are straight. From here, push up onto your toes, and then use your arms to push you back down towards your heels. And you can push your head through if that feels good. And you just come up and down. So I'm coming up onto my tippy toes and keeping my hips locked in place. And I'm moving from I'm moving from my shoulders and my ankles. My hips are pretty stable. They're not moving. So in a traditional downward dog, you would actually move your hips and come forward into a plank, but we're not doing that. We're going to keep our hips locked and move our ankles and our shoulders. Okay? So it's a nice calf stretch. You could even pigeon toe your feet to get a different stretch. You could turn them like a duck and see if you can find the stretch there. And just see what feels the best to you. Where do you need the most stretch? You could change your angle of your feet. Like I kind of like to walk and see how that feels. Stepping forward and back, and up and down. Bringing your head through for a little bit of stretch to your chest if you can feel that. You might not feel it. Depends on how tight your calves are. Awesome. Let's do one more. Oh, great. Whew. Oh. You know what? It's our first really warm day in Chicago. It's going to be in the 70s today. And my heat was on this morning. I'm like, oh, it's hot here, you guys. All right, let's do a stretch for our lats next. What I want you to do is tuck your right leg in and bring your left leg out to the side, if that feels good. If not, you can sit however you want, like maybe with your legs crossed or on your knees, whatever feels good. You can also do this sitting in a chair. But the most important thing is that you keep your hips really grounded here. Bring your right arm up and grab your elbow with the other hand, and you're going to resist like you're trying to pull both arms apart. And then pull with your left arm towards your left foot. So I just pull right across towards the straight leg. And then when that stretch is done, I pull right back up. You should feel this from your armpit down to your hips. So just notice how that feels. Up and down, find that stretch in the outside of your body. Twist and turn the way that your body likes. Just pay attention to how you're feeling. So maybe if you look towards your knee, it'll feel different. Or if you look straight ahead, it might feel different. If you look up, it might feel different. So see if you can find where you have the most tension and pull that tension out. Up for strength and down for stretch. All right, so let's move to the other side. So just bring your left leg in, let your right leg come out to the side. Bring your left arm up and grab your elbow with your right hand. Now you're going to resist like you're trying to pull both arms apart, and then pull with your right arm towards your right foot. So you pull yourself over to the right, and then up for strength. And you just go back and forth. Over for stretch, up for strength, and then play around with it a little. Maybe look down at your knee and see how that feels. Maybe look straight ahead at the TV or at your computer and see how that feels. And maybe look up and see if you can see the ceiling. Which one has the most tension? Maybe stick with that one for a few reps and see if you can get a little bit more range of motion on each one. Just a little bit, like there's just this little bit of gain on each repetition. So see if you can find that. Whew. Oh, nice. Oh, nice work, you guys. Okay, now that we're going to move it to the top of our shoulders here. So I want you to bring your right arm in, Take your left hand and grab your wrist on top, and you're gonna resist like you're trying to pull both arms out straight to the side. Push up for strength, up towards the ceiling, and then use your left arm to push you a little bit that way and a little bit down. So it's like an out and a down motion. When you get to the bottom, bring your ear of your left side to your left shoulder. So your left ear to your left shoulder. You should feel your neck on the right, and then you just go up and down, up for strength and down for stretch. And then your head to the right. I'm sorry, your head to the left. Stretch on the right. A little nod will get you an even deeper stretch. So just a little, say yes. Say yes. And then up for strength and down for stretch. And your head to the left and a little nod yes. And it'll just wrap around here in your neck and shoulder. Up and down. Up for strength, down for stretch. See if you can find that stretch to the top of your shoulder. See if you can find it. Up for strength, down for stretch, your head to the side. Let's do one more, okay? And then we'll switch sides. All right. Woo. Bring your left arm into the side and grab your wrist with your right hand. You're gonna push straight out, like straight out to the left. That means that my forearm here is parallel with the wall. So don't let your arm be bent like this. It should be parallel to the wall. And then you push down for your stretch. Pull your right ear to your right shoulder. Maybe a little nod if it feels good. Up for strength, down for stretch. Think of pushing away towards the wall and then down to the floor, keeping your elbow locked at 90 degrees. And then a little bit of back and forth with your head, just to get a deeper stretch if it feels good. Up for strength, down for stretch. Find that stretch in your neck and shoulder. Enjoy it, you guys. It's good. It's good for you today. It seems silly to think that this stretch would help you touch your toes, but you have to be able to drop your neck to feel safe in the way that your head can fall, but also that you can bring your hands to the floor, which is the equivalent of this, right? And if you can't stretch out these shoulders and the top of your deltoids, that means you also can't shorten them. Flexibility works on both ends. Mobility works both sides. So you have like your resting place, which just feels good. And then you have like your stretch, right? Which is way over here. But the other side of that equation is this. It's this contraction. And if you can't do one, you can't do the other. They're proportional on both sides. So by stretching this out, you're actually enabling yourself to reach up over your head, which means you're also enabling yourself to reach down to the floor when you're bent at your hips, right? How cool is that? I think it's so cool. All right, friends, let's move on. You know what? Let's go back and do some rotator cuff work before we move on. Bring your right arm up, straight across your body like this. Take your left arm and reach over and grab your elbow on the other side. Now you're gonna resist by trying to pull with this top hand, pulling your arm this way. Your other arm is gonna pull the other way, and then there's tension between your hand and your elbow, so you're regulating this back and forth, okay? So what you're gonna do is push open to the right, keep your back really stable, and then pull across to the left, and as you pull, you can push your elbow into your hand to get a little rotation. And then you just go back and forth. Open for strength, and come across for your stretch, give it a little bit of rotation too. You just go back and forth. You don't even have to rotate if it doesn't feel good. You can just go straight to the right and then straight to the left. But if you feel like you want some rotation in that shoulder, then you pull your elbow across and push your top elbow down into your hand to rotate the shoulder. If this doesn't feel good, don't do it. Okay? Just do what feels right. And like I said before, it's okay to just do this much. Okay? It's going to be really effective. All right, let's switch sides. Bring your left arm up, take your right arm over top and grab your elbow. Push your bottom hand into your elbow, push your elbow into your hand. Now you're going to go open to the left, Cross it to the right to get some stretch in the back of your shoulder. This should be stretch in your left shoulder. Then if you want rotation, push your elbow down into your hand and then come right back. You just go back and forth. If this is confusing for you, it's okay. Just find yourself in this position and just go side to side. That's all right. You'll learn. You'll learn over time. Don't worry about it. Open for strength and close it up for stretch. I'll tell you guys, if stretching feels really complicated, it's because somehow your body and your brain are trying to, they're fighting each other, right? Your body's saying, I don't want to do this. Your brain is saying, I can do it, I can do it. And it's just like this conflict. So as your body's telling you, no, your brain is telling you, I can figure this out, but it feels like confusion. It feels like a struggle. It's like, I just don't understand this. I don't know why I'm not getting it. It's because your body's telling you you're taking it too far. It's that simple. Stretching is not rocket science. None of these moves are rocket science, and they seem a little complicated, but they're complicated because your body's like, I don't know about that. If you were completely open and there were no problems and you were really in touch with your body, you could do this stretch with one explanation. That's how it works. So if you're having complications in your brain and you're like, I just can't wrap my brain around this and the resistance is tough and whatever, it's just because it's new and you just need to take it in smaller increments, okay? So go in small ranges of motion, just really enjoy the time that you have. Now let's go ahead and test our forward fold again. So stand up. We're gonna fold from our hips. So remember, you have to be able to shorten your hip flexors to fold forward. So often people fold into their toe touch like this, and the fold is happening here from their spine. If you try to fold like this and your hip flexors are locked, you'll never be able to touch your toes. So you're like, I don't know why my hamstrings are so tight. It's not your hamstrings, my friends. It's these guys. So fold right here at your hip flexor. Stick your tailbone out a little bit. Fold from the hips. We just did a ton of stretching for your shoulders, so you should feel a lot more confident bringing your hands down, letting your head hang. See how that feels. All right, we don't need to hang out there. Just try it once. If you just touched your toes for the first time, congratulations. Put a big shout out in the comments and give me a big thumbs up, okay? This is a big deal for some people. The first time I touched my toes, I called my mom. It's you're not going to believe it. I was 25 years old. She was like, Carrie, it's not really that big of a deal. And I was like, you don't understand. I was telling everybody. I was at the water cooler at work being like, look what I can do. And they were like, great. Good job, Carrie. But you don't understand. I couldn't even touch my toes when I was 8 years old. I've never been flexible until I started doing this work. And then it just all unraveled. It's amazing stuff. Okay, so the next stretch we're going to do is for your quads. This one can be a little intense, so feel free to skip this stretch, but I would really recommend getting a pillow or a towel or something that can give you a little more stability. If it's your first time doing this and you're a little worried about your quad stability, you might also want to grab a chair or something that you can hold on to. I'll show you how that works. Let me grab a chair real quick. You just set the chair up next to you so that you have something to hold on to if you need it. What you're going to do is start on all fours. Take your right knee and drop it against the wall, so your foot's flat on the wall and your knee's on the towel. If this is intense for you already, then you're just too close to the wall. So you can regulate the intensity by bringing your knee further away, or you can make it more intense by bringing your knee closer in, okay? Then bring your other leg around to the front. So you want to find this lunge. Again, if this lunge is too hard to get into, it's because your knee is too close to the wall. So pull your knee away from the wall. So it's a bigger lunge. You could also turn your toe under if you want, so that your feet are, your toes are against the wall, the bottom of your toes are against the wall, and your sole's pointing up, or flat foot, okay? If this is uncomfortable for your foot, just put something under there, like a towel or a pillow or something, okay? Or you can sit on your couch, since you're at home. I went this full stretch. Once you're in this position, if you feel the need to hold on to something, that's okay. So you have your chair there to hold on to if you need it. Otherwise, no hands, Mom, right? Look, Mom. So now what you're going to do is push your foot into the wall And take your other foot and try to push it out. It's like you're trying to push your legs into the splits. Like you're trying to slide open, whoa, right? But the mat's there to stop you. The wall's there to stop you, right? So when you push your foot into the wall, it's gonna drive your body forward. And then you'll feel a hip flexor stretch. That's just an added bonus. The real stretch is going back to the wall. Use your front leg to push you back. Your back leg is still fighting. And here's your stretch. That's your quads. Okay, and you just go back and forth. If you have any knee pain in this stretch, get out of it. It's not worth it, especially if you feel it in the joint of your knee. It means that you're trying to fold over your hamstrings and they're not having it. And so it's actually like putting tension on your ligaments. So if you feel that on the inside of your knee, like right in the front, don't do this. Just get out of it. You can come back to it later. We'll definitely do this one twice today. So forward for strength and back for stretch. For those of you who like this stretch and feel good, tuck your tailbone just a little bit. Just a little. See if you can get a deeper stretch. It's a posterior tilt. So basically what you'll do is just like lower your tailbone and pull the front of your pelvis back. So I usually put my hand right on my lower belly and then just kind of gentle pull back. You don't need a lot. It's just a gentle, like I'm just pulling this way to help facilitate that posterior tilt in my pelvis. Whew. It's a good one today. Right here, right? You feel that? You feel it? If you have trouble with this, you might want to try out the problem-solving video for your quads. It's really good. Oh, great. That's in my playlists. Switch sides. Bring your left leg up. Take your right leg behind. And come up into a lunge. Oh, I'm getting a cramp. That tells me I shouldn't be doing this stretch. So I'm going to show you this one first. And then I'm going to fake my way through it. We're definitely coming back to this one because I just had a problem. If you get a cramp in your foot or your hamstrings and your calves, it just means you have other work to do. And we're going to work through those. That's what I just had happen. So you push with your back leg to bring you forward. You push with your front leg to bring you back. And see if you can find that stretch through your quad. Okay? You can have your foot flat against the wall if it'll let you. Mine is not letting me today. And you just go back and forth. Again, if you want a little bit more tilt, you can pull your pelvis, like just kind of try to pull your inner belly in. And I'm like physically pulling my stomach in a little bit with my hands. So it's just a little pull. And see if you can find that stretch. Should be in your quads right here, right? And again, if anything hurts, if you feel this in your knees, especially if you feel it deep inside your knee, then go ahead and stop right away. We are going to revisit this one later, okay? So just go back and forth, forward for strength and back for stretch. All right. Good job, friends. So now come on back to your mat. We're going to do a stretch for your inner hamstrings. So you're going to lay on your back. Bring your right leg up and let your knee open to the side, and then grab your heel with your right hand. So it's my right leg and my right hand. I'm going to kick my heel down towards my body. I let my knee open up about 45 degrees to the side, and then you just pull up for your stretch. You're resisting and moving the whole time, so you kick down for strength and pull up for stretch. And find that stretch on the inside part of your hamstring right here. All right, kicking down for strength and up for your stretch. Find that good stretch. Stop when it feels like it's enough. You don't have to go too far into this. You just kind of take it to where it wants to go. Down for strength and up for stretch. There's a nice give and take between the strength and the stretch between your foot and your hand. So on the way down, your legs winning. On the way up, your arms win. And you just go back and forth just like that. Down for strength and up for stretch. Nice work, guys. We're going to switch sides now. So hold your head up with your other hand if you want. Take your left arm and grab your heel with your left hand. So it's my left heel, my left hand. I'm letting my knee open up to the side. Kick down for strength, contracting the hamstring in your left leg, and pull up for your stretch. Down for strength, and up for stretch. You should feel the inner part of your hamstring right on your inner thighs, but kind of towards the back. See if you can find a nice stretch there, kicking down for strength, and up for stretch. And just notice that there's a nice give and take between your hand and your foot. You're kicking down and letting your leg win, but your arm slows you down, right? You don't give up with one side, you keep resisting. And then as you pull up, your arm wins, but your leg is still fighting. It's not 50-50. It's like 51-49, right? The ratio is just a little different. One side wins, the other side wins. Just depends on which side you're on, right? Down this way, the muscle is shortening. I'm fighting that. On the way up, the muscle's lengthening, and I'm still fighting that too. All right, let's come up into a groin stretch. So have a seat, bring your feet together. Into a butterfly type stretch. Put your elbows on your knees, and you're going to push down into your knees and out in a sweeping motion. So it's kind of like an outward force, but you're going to try to bring your knees closer to the floor as you do that. It's almost like you're trying to pull your knees apart to the walls, if you think of it that way. Squeeze in with your legs and let your legs win. As you do that, lean back just a little bit so that you can really get that strength in your inner thighs. Feel the inner thighs grab. And then keep that tension in your inner thighs as you come open into the stretch. This one is another one that tends to shake a lot. So let yourself find that shaky place and see if you can find that tremor and keep the tremor. It's kind of strange. See if you can find it. It's a weird feeling. It'll happen especially as you come up. You want to find that tremor. Ooh, there it is. And then see if you can stay in that place. As you go into the stretch, it'll probably stop shaking. That's okay. But you definitely want to find that shake. That's where the muscle is. That's where the tension is. Okay? If you want, you can grab your elbows, see if you can pull forward into that stretch. Only do what feels good though. If you can't go any further, that's okay. Just go in the place that feels good. You can play around with the angle of your feet. Maybe bring your feet a little further away, or maybe bring them a little closer in. Just do what feels right to you. Okay, you can play around with it. This is a really nice one. Let's see if you can find that shake up at the top especially. There it is. Oh, and then come back down. Ah, it's good stuff. So good. All right, the next stretch we're going to do is for your lateral hamstring. So this one you cross over your body. I'm going to show you the position for your arm and your leg from here sitting, and then we'll lay on our back and do it this way. This is my left leg. This is my right hand. I'm going to grab the outside of my foot. When you do that, your leg's going to want to turn out. Well, what I want you to do is, see how my knee is really far away from my elbow? I want you to bridge that gap. Turn it so that your knee comes in close to your elbow. Your heel is going to come out to the side. When you kick down, this is strength training. When you pull up, it's a stretch. I'm thinking about pulling up towards the ceiling, but it's on a diagonal because my leg is rotated in. Okay, so not actively pulling this way to the wall, I'm actually pulling up, but it's going that way because my leg's turned. Okay, so let's go ahead and lay on our backs. Bring your left knee in, cross your right arm over top and grab the outside of your foot. Turn your knee in towards your elbow so that they come close together. Take your heel down towards your hip and pull up over your head if you can, and back down. When you come up into the stretch, if you're on the right diagonal, your foot should come about over your right shoulder, right? Or over your right ear, somewhere in that diagonal. If you can't reach this, take your towel or a strap and wrap it around your foot And that just extends your arm length so you can get a little higher into the stretch, okay? So just up and down for strength, and up for stretch. This stretch is effective as long as you are pulling up. So I'm pulling towards this wall over here. That means that I have to move my shoulder. So if you find yourself just like, especially if you're using a rope or a strap, just trying to pull down and moving up and down, then you're not actually pulling yourself. You need to pull towards that wall, which means your hand has to raise over your head, okay? You should feel the outer part of your hamstring right through here, all right? Oh, okay. Switch sides. So I like to hold my hand with the arm that I'm not using. So now I have my right hand holding my head. And then you're going to take your left arm and cross over your shin, grab the outside of your foot, bridge the gap between your arm and your knee. So turn your knee in towards your left shoulder. And then kick your heel down and pull up. This time you're pulling up over the left side of your head and kick down for strength. You should feel the outer part of your hamstring. If you need a towel or a strap, use it. Go for it. Down for strength and up for stretch. And just find that stretch right in the outside of your hamstring. Good stuff today. Go down for strength and up for stretch. You should feel this all the way. I mean, it could go all the way from your little toe through your glutes. Sometimes people even feel this in their back in a good way. I wouldn't be surprised. Sometimes you can feel it. Let's do one more repetition, and then we're going to go back to our quad stretch on the wall. So, put your towel here against the wall. If you need your chair, you have it. Take your right foot against the wall, your knee kind of close to the wall. And you can regulate that distance, right? So you can let your knee come further away, or you can come closer in. Bring your other leg around to the front and come up into a lunge. You may notice that this feels a lot easier now than it did before. You might notice that you don't feel like you're going to fall over. That'd be awesome, right? Push your foot into the wall. That'll bring your body forward, and then use your front leg to push you back towards the wall. Remember, you can just pull your belly in a little bit with your hands to get a deeper stretch. See if you can find that. It just kind of gives you a little, just like a millimeter of posterior tilt. Sometimes does it. Sometimes that's enough. Right? Oh, that's a good one. Forward for strength, back for stretch. See if you can find that nice stretch to the front of your quads. Stretching these are important too, because remember, when you stretch something with resistance, you also reinforce how much this muscle can shorten. And when you go into your forward fold, you're going to need your quads to shorten to let you into that stretch, okay? They need to be more mobile. They need both sides of the equation, not just the stretch, but also the strength portion, okay? All right, bring your hands down. It's one of the main reasons why resistance stretching is so important. Because when you do a static stretch, you are not reinforcing the shortening aspect of that stretch. And that's like, it's so important. It's so important. I think it's almost more important. I could say that it is more important than actually being able to get length in your muscle is to be able to shorten the muscle. Right? The real definition of flexibility is the ability to bend without breaking. Okay? It has nothing to do with being able to stretch, although the other side is stretching. But mainly you want to be able to bend. That's so important. People who lose mobility lose the ability to bend. They lose the ability to bend this knee joint to come back towards the wall. They lose the ability to bend at their hips to reach down and touch something on the floor. Right? They lose the ability to squat down to the ground. You find yourself like getting halfway there and then falling the rest of the way, right? So what we want is the ability to bend as far as you can, right? To get into each position for our body to be able to fold up the way it wants to fold. So important. So bring your hands down, come back to your mat, and we're gonna try out our forward fold one more time. Just gonna check my clock. Okay, we're right at 10, this is perfect. All right, so here we go. Find your feet in a stable position, bend at your hip joint. Think of this not so much as stretching, but more as bending without breaking. So bend here at your hips. Find that bend. Continue into that bend as you come deeper into this forward fold. Let your head down. See how that feels for you. You could even bend your knees if you want to come in closer, and then add movement by straightening your knees out. So you can vary the stretch here. I don't know if you guys can hear my knees. And then you come right back up. Awesome. If you guys just touched your toes, give me a thumbs up. Woohoo! Give me a comment with all the balloons and like in the emojis. Do it in the comments. I love you guys. I'm so glad you're here today. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. If you're in Chicago, I super hope that you get a chance to get outside at some point in a safe way and enjoy some of this sunshine. Whew, I'm out of breath. And that quad stretch did me in. And then just again, for a little reminder, if you guys want to give back energetically, subscribing is the #1 best thing you can do. Don't forget to share, like, and comment, of course. Let me know if you touched your toes today. It's pretty exciting. And then also, if you're able to contribute to Stretch Chi, that would be super, super cool. I have one more quick announcement. We are starting, the Ki-Hara team decided that we're going to start doing virtual on Zoom self-stretch certifications, just like this course. So if anyone is interested in that, please get in touch with me. You can put you just go to my website, it's stretchchi.com, and there's a little form. You can just fill out the form, say you're interested in certification, and give me some information about you so that I can keep in touch with you about that if you're interested in learning this for your own practice, okay? All right, friends, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on